Good evening, Jan, or afternoon.
Afternoon. It's not evening yet. Good morning, Michael.
How do you do?
It's too early to be evening. Still too much work to do. Everything fine over here. What about you?
Doing very well. Looks like my camera's not starting up.
No,
Not
I
sure.
see
Oh, I think I know
two
what's happened.
see two dots moving, but no Michael.
Yeah, I think I know what happened. Yeah, I'm trying to set up OBS for next week, and um, so it's stealing the camera right now. So I'm going to tell it to.
I thought perhaps Michael is on holiday and this is an artificial intelligence.
Hey, that might be an improvement.
I
Okay.
didn't say that.
All right, there we go.
Okay, there we have a deep fake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and now
well,
it's having a hard time loading your camera.
yeah,
There you go. All right,
yeah.
we have everybody online. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and stream is going. Cool. All right.
You
Technical
say
difficulties averted.
OBS for next week? Anything special next week?
Yeah, so I'm thinking that next week I'll go ahead um, uh, and open the Discord at this time, just in case there is somebody that's going to be joining. But yeah, I was thinking that rather than um, recording through Discord, which would just have a small image of me, I'll do a recording directly through OBS from the camera, and I'm trying to get it set up so that I could quickly switch to Discord. But it looks like that might
But
not work
wait,
out.
next week I'm still there, right? It's the week after
Oh,
I'm
it's the
not
week
there, right?
after. Okay. All right.
12 to 19, I think. Sunday
Okay.
to Sunday. Yeah. No, next week I'm still there.
Okay. Well, good.
Uh,
All right. Well then, yeah, just planning ahead then.
Okay. So you worked on Azure?
I did. Yes. Yeah. I got some. Uh, I got some good practices to share that I think are going to be applicable, to any kind of project, but specifically if somebody does want to run a Jinaga project in the cloud, these would be the steps to go through to make that happen.
Okay. I'm interested because on
Yeah.
this site I don't have a lot of things to show, so go ahead.
All right. So we do the screen share, and let's start right here. Okay. So this is where we end up having everything deployed. So I've created this resource group. You can see these weird, funny, random numbers at the end. They all seem to
Yeah.
be hexadecimal numbers. That comes from Pulumi, which is what I use to set up this resource group. But the idea here is that we've got our application, so that is the portal. So that's running as an app service. It's running on top of an app service plan. So that's basically the application and the virtual machine, if you want to think of it that way. Um,
Yeah.
then we've got our Postgres server um, and a Postgres database. So this is using the Azure database for Postgres. So it's a managed Postgres database. And then log analytics and application insights. Those work together to gather all of the telemetry from the application and make it possible for us to review it. And so all of that stuff, all configured, working together, gives us an application in the cloud. I should actually show you the application. So if we go to dev.jinaga.com, then since I am, oh, okay, good, it's giving us the login experience. Okay, I was thinking that that I already had a session going. But that was on a different machine. So yeah, I don't have a session on this machine yet. Very good. So we've got our login page. Sign in with GitHub. And if you haven't checked the box, you have to agree to the terms and service. So I've generated some terms of service and a privacy policy, and yes, I actually did use ChatGPT to generate these documents, but they look pretty good to me. So, and I just kind of explained to ChatGPT what the service does and what it's trying to accomplish, and it said, "Well, how about these?" And I said, "Those look good." All right, so I agree to those terms and conditions. So sign in with GitHub. And this, for the very first time, would jump you over to GitHub, say, hey, Jinaga wants to sign you in. All that Jinaga will see is your public profile, and won't have access to, to pull code or update issues or anything. But since I've already done that, now sign in with GitHub just takes me right in. And we now have the Jinaga Replicators. There actually is a replicator in here. There it comes. So I've already created the Festify replicator. So far, that's just a name. There is no actual replicator behind it, but that is the start of the application.
I logged in at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it showed me the same screen but without Festify. But now my screen went blank. Why?
Yeah, do you want to share?
Yeah, just a blank. Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, let's see if we can work through this.
Now as a service go live. Yeah. So you see this one. It's just a blank. And it was showing the blue band. Create a new replicator.
Mm-hmm.
If I just refresh, let's try that. Yes, it's there again. Okay.
Okay, it hasn't updated on my side, but
yeah, and it jumps away again.
Interesting.
That's strange.
Yeah. Can you open the developer tools? Let's see if we can gather some.
Yeah. Well, open DevTools. Yes. I got a lot. Yeah, the welcome I don't need. A lot of errors. Effect or any of its predecessors cannot be null.
There we go. Ah, okay.
In trace, in error page.tsx, in React DOM, and in Jinaga.ts. Do you already see my screen or not yet?
I do, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to make it a little bit smaller, then it's better readable for you?
Yeah, I think that would help.
Just make it just a quarter of the screen.
Okay. So we are starting with so we're in user provider. So you see that link where it says user provider TSX? Let's go ahead and click on that link. I want to see what it is.
On the top or the bottom? Here. Is this one you mean?
Yes. Okay. So yeah, we are inside of a React component that takes a user, and then we do we're doing a JDOT query starting from that user fact, and I don't have a check for the for when the user is null. You know what? I wonder if I'm just not noticing that, and it's happening on mine too before it before it completes the login. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I need to add a check there inside of that use effect that if the user, let's see.
And that user, that's
Yeah.
the one who logs in?
Yes. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's doing the await j.login. So it must be getting back a null user fact from j.login, which is highly unusual. Okay, so this isn't just until you log in. Okay. Yeah, that's a good data point. I will have to see if I can reproduce that. But yeah, what should happen is that j.login should notice that you have logged in with GitHub, so you've got your session, but you don't yet have a user in the key store or in the fact store. And so j.login should add it to the key store, add it to the fact store, and then give you back that user fact. And now you can start to start running queries from it.
So j.login didn't add that me as a user to the store.
Correct, yeah. Which I didn't think was a possible path through there, but now we know better.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's something to diagnose. All right. So yeah, I will take the stream back. So I'm gonna share my screen again.
The stream from this side then.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And let's see if we can figure out what's going on. So, coming back to Azure, inside of our resource group, we've got application insights. So, yeah, let me just go ahead and click on it right here. Okay, so nice error spike. We've got some failed requests. Yeah, I see these periodic failed requests. These are different root login requests or root get requests, and I believe the failure is that the thing that's pinging that every every 5 minutes, as you can see, is not logged in. So that, even though it does have a response code of 0, I think that is this thing trying to redirect. But yeah, I'm not too concerned about that one right now. What I want to dive into is what happened here. So let's see. Actually, I'm not seeing any different types of failures. Okay, let's go back to here. We've got our server requests. We'll start with the different requests that are coming in, and so let's narrow the window down to just this. There we go. Just this set of requests, and so we can see like here's some Jinaga/login requests. And we've got a few samples. So 304, which is redirecting over to GitHub for you to do the sign in there, and then 200s. Interesting. So 807 and 806. Yeah, let's dive into like one of those 304s. Yeah, so what we see here, we see the different calls to Postgres that are happening because of the login. And so it starts off with the session. So I'm using the Postgres session provider for Express. And then it ends with an update to the session. So that's so that you can have a persistent session, even if you got multiple web servers, and even if you recycle one of the web servers, it can still remember your session because it's saved in the database. So right here in the middle, this is Jinaga trying to look at the fact table to see if it can find a fact for your user. It wraps that in a transaction because if it doesn't, then it's going to insert that fact. But here, since we just see the select, this is a case where we already knew. So why is it? Okay, wait a minute. 304 is not redirect. What am I thinking? HTTP 304. That is not modified. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it gives you back a 304 because after Jinaga does all that work and produces the user fact, the server says, "Oh, this is the one that I already have in my cache. It hasn't changed, or it's producing the same tag. So let me tell the client it hasn't changed, rather than send that payload back." And so the browser already has it cached, and that saves you a little bit of bandwidth.
So this must come from your login then, not from mine.
Yes, I think so. This one here, okay. Yeah, this is the more interesting one. So this would have been your first login, 806.26. 806.16. Okay, that would have been. Yeah, so we were hitting the page at about the same time. So you came in 10 seconds later, and so yeah, we've got our session at the beginning and at the end. This first transaction that tries to get your key pair. So we select the public and private key from the key store, and then I see an insert right below it, which tells me that it did not find a key pair for you, and so it generated a key pair and inserted it. We can see a delay of a few. Actually, this is like a half a second. That delay would be the amount of time that it took the server to generate a key pair. So that's a little bit slower than I expected, but yeah, that's supposed to be an expensive operation. Okay, so now you've got something inside of the key store, and then it begins another transaction now to try to find your user fact. So we've got our select that's looking for a user fact with that particular public key that it just generated. And it says, nope, I don't have one, so let's do the insert. Let's insert that fact. And then this, I think the reason that it's getting this public-private key from the key store is that it is signing the fact, but it's not writing anything to envelopes. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, so I'm a little bit curious about that one.
But that second select, why is that exactly? Because So the first one, he was looking for public-private key, didn't find, so he inserted. He created that new user. And then the second, that second select for what?
Yeah, so the second select for the public key and private key. Actually, okay, so this one.
That's oh no, that's that one. Yeah,
that one. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So so yeah, the purpose of this one is that it is trying to see if the fact is already in the database. And so this fact is Jinaga.user with public key equal to this thing that was just generated. So all it knows from the key store is that I have a particular user from a particular provider. I need to get a key pair, and the key store said, okay, here's a, well, I think it's probably public key. I need to get a public key. Okay, yeah, here's the public key. So at this point, it doesn't know that this was a brand new user. And so basically, it's you can see from the where clause here, it's looking for the for a particular. Let's see. There is no. Where is the where clause? You see the and fact hash is fact hash. Oh, okay. Yes, the join values. That's how I did the where clause. So the hash and fact type are coming in as values, and so so we're looking for a fact with a particular hash and fact type. So it creates the JSON object that is type Jinaga user public key, this big long public key, computes the hash, and then checks the database to see is that particular fact already in the database. Okay. So this select will return nothing, and then it says, okay, I'm going to insert it into the database. And that's going to return the actual fact ID and hash and fact type ID. And then, yeah, this is the one that that's got me confused. I'm not sure why it's getting the public and private key pair again. I think that's the time at which it would sign the fact, but then it's not writing into the envelopes table. So maybe I don't actually have that feature completed yet. But yeah, so this is showing me that it actually did generate a user fact for you. So when you came back in, it should have recognized that user fact. Oh, wait a minute.
I didn't log in the second time. I just did a refresh.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so that means it would have had the same provider, which is GitHub, and user identifier, which is your GitHub handle. And so it would have come back, and so it would have been something that looks like this. It might have been this exact one, or the others look similar. So it would have seen that we already have. Yeah, this one is just. Oh, hello. He's kind of needy today. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to find where it's going back to the key store. But yeah, at this point, it seems to already have the okay, because there's a cache, there's an in-memory cache in front of the key store. So yeah, it would have hit the in-memory cache and said, okay, I already have this particular key pair loaded, so so let me just immediately give it back to you. It didn't go back to the database. Okay. Yeah, that's what's happening. And so here it's checking to see, well, is that fact already in the database? It already is, because it doesn't have an additional insert after the select. And so now it says, yep, here is the fact. Then we're getting a 304, which means that that it hasn't changed. So that's what I'm thinking, and that's what I think is happening, is that the 200 is supposed to return the actual fact body, and then with the 304, it's saying, well, you already have it. But I'm wondering if somehow with that initial 200, we missed it, and and so the browser doesn't actually have it. I don't know. That would be, yeah. So I bet you that if you were to clear your cache, I know that that's never a good solution, but if you were to clear your cache, then it would do this fetch again. It would not send an E tag, and so you would get back a 200, and I think that you would have the body of the user object in there.
If I just do a forced refresh, F5. Would that help?
I think a control F5.
Is it control or shift F5?
Yeah.
Okay, it gives me back the blue screen, and then, yeah, and you see it, it throws, oh no, you don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, let me, Jinaga Replicator. The fact of its predecessor cannot be null, he's telling here. So if we just make this a little bit smaller.
Mm-hmm.
That validate fact. Oh, it's a very long one.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at prototype. What is the prototype parameter? Okay. Yeah. That definitely is not a fact. So error handler, fact manager, loading handlers, Postgres handlers, that is that is the Jinaga instance itself. Why is somebody calling j.fact with the Jinaga instance? That's interesting. So let's take a look at the call stack.
Where do I find that here?
Let's see. Yeah, we probably don't have the call stack anymore. Well, no, it is stuck. It is stuck in the breakpoint. Yeah, so I think actually it is under sources.
Just here.
Yeah, it's usually off to the side. Trying to think, how do you
No, nothing here.
Yeah, I see it off to the side on mine. I'm trying to think, how do you get that turned on? Oh, okay, so there's a there should be underneath that menu, if you close that again, there should be a button. Well, there's no button. Why is that? Here's the debugger.
Send feedback.
Yeah, this must be a difference between Edge and Chrome.
I don't have Chrome installed on this machine.
Yeah. Well, there should definitely be a way to get there. I just don't know what it is. So you've got at the bottom there's scope and watch.
Let's see whether we can find something on internet. The Robert rules, the stack.
Let's see. We want to show the call stack pane.
Not many things about call stack in Edge. Here, perhaps.
Yeah, I found something on Stack Overflow. This is kind of ridiculous that this is a thing.
You and edit. Search. Stack. Yeah, but how to get to that?
Wow, and this Stack Overflow post from 2019 does not have an answer to it. Just it doesn't show the JS call stack in the DevTools. Yep, why not?
Oh, we might find something. Call, navigating the call stack. To do this, use the call stack section shown in the right pane of the screenshot above. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, but how to get that? I don't see anything that looks. Okay, what are they doing? They are stepping through the code. So they are. They have.
Yeah, along the
They
bottom
put
of your
breakpoints.
screen, I see at the very bottom you've got your debug controls.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
next to that is a scope and a watch. That probably opens up some other windows. Yeah, don't see what it's doing. But then all the way on the right, on the row just above it. Oh,
Wait.
there we go. Oh my goodness, that was it? Really?
We have a watch, we have a scope, and now where
Okay.
is our call stack? Here.
Yes. Yes, it looks like we're... Yeah, that's the
Here.
one that is open right now. Okay. Wow. Okay, so the thing that's calling prototype is, yeah, go ahead and click on that second one, Jinaga test. So why are we calling Jinaga test? I'm not sure, but so somewhere in there, there's supposed to be a call to j.fact. Okay, so you see the one that says fact, and that goes back to Jinaga TS. Okay, so now if we take a look at the prototype, you can actually see the prototype in the locals there. So that one is an actual fact. That's good. So somehow this call to fact
is transformed.
Yeah. That is the strangest thing. I don't know what is going on with that.
Is he calling that R here? Save.
that's looking like at this point it's trying to save your username.
Yeah. The next step here is that R.
Yeah, so two things are confusing me. First of all, we shouldn't be using Jinaga test, so I'm not sure why this file is even loaded. But then the second thing is that it's on completely the wrong line.
It's creating authentication here. I don't see any create authentication.
Yeah, that's yeah, that is it. I think it just picked a line. Well, I'm actually not even sure how it came up with 54. It's almost to that. And then we come back into. Okay, so this is the one that has the actual RAS username.
Yeah. But it's async programming, so.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be that it's just got a bunch of promises and doesn't know exactly where it is in the code.
The walkthrough is not always. What can we do here?
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm going to take a quick look at the code just to make sure I'm using on the client when I config. Yeah, when I do my Jinaga config, I call Jinaga browser. Yeah, so there is no call to Jinaga test in here. Let's just make sure. Yeah, there's no reason that it should be loading that code. Well, that one is quite a mystery.
For the moment.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I think that something got messed up. Somehow it ended up calling a function that with a parameter that just doesn't make any sense. So it's like it's got two different versions of code in memory at the same time or something like that. But yeah, what we can probably do to see if this moves forward is if you go to the network tab, then inside of the network tab you can hit a checkbox that is disable cache. Yeah, right there at the top, disable cache, and hit refresh, and so that should not even just cache the JavaScript. Yeah, and that should make sure that it's got the very latest stuff.
You see, for the moment, it's just blue there.
Yeah.
Then let's see what happens. Yeah, post in debugger. So probably we got. Yeah, he threw an error again.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and try this in Edge and see if I can reproduce this error. Yeah, it might be that that somehow the way that I've configured Webpack, it works on Chrome but not on Edge.
Let me try something. Let me try it on a different machine.
Okay.
On a virtual machine here. Which is the same hardware but completely different. Microsoft Edge, yeah, I know. He first wants to make a little bit publicity, I think. Okay, then I agree to the terms. I sign in with GitHub. It's thinking. Okay. He's asking for my email address. And then the password. And sign in. Then you're being redirected to the authorized application. Jinaga Replicator as a service. Okay, I'm on that blue page. That's all right. And now it jumps to white. Same thing.
Oh. Okay. That is very interesting indeed.
So if you can try it on your side with Edge, you might have the same problem.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let me get that going. I'm going to do a share again. Okay. All right. So yeah, I've clicked sign in with GitHub, put in my email and password, sign in, and I need to do my MFA. And that is with the actual GitHub application. So type in the number 70, approve, and redirecting. To not save that image. And we're back here. And yeah, it popped up into Festify.
Strange.
Okay. So it might be a code path that I'm not taking because I've already got my my name set. Maybe even because I already have some a replicator created. So yeah, I might have created a code path along the way that.
Do you have a second login in GitHub by accident?
I do, in fact. Yes, I do. So
Might try that.
Yeah. So let's go to GitHub, and so I'm going to log out of this. I don't have the logout feature implemented in Jinaga yet, or in the replicator as a service yet. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to force it to kill that session. But okay, let me let you out real quick. All right. So let me copy.
Biscuits doesn't like bugs.
Nope. Okay, so let's copy that password. So I will now sign in here with michael.perry@improving.com with that password. And I need to email authenticate. So let me open up that email. So that is there's my verification code. And verify me. Okay, so I'm logged in with GitHub using a different account. So let me go back to dev.jinaga.com, and right now it's still got the session that is associated with the other GitHub account. So that logs me in. But I will open DevTools, and I will go to the application and we want to clear the cookies. So no more cookie for dev.jinaga.com. Oh, why you say no secure? Okay, that's another thing that I really need to look into, because yeah, this site does have a certificate.
On my side, there is no problem.
Maybe it's just not automatically redirecting to HTTPS. Okay, that's something to fix. Yeah, I've got that configured in Azure to require TLS. Okay. All right. So now we have this going. I'm going to agree. I'm going to sign in with GitHub. It should see that I'm logged in as a different user on GitHub. So it says, hey, Jinaga by Michael L. Perry. I should change that to Jinaga LLC. Wants to access this account. Modern Full Stack is just the name of the account that I had created here. So authorize and redirect. And we have, yeah, the name is not showing up. Oh, okay, the name showed up. All right, yeah, so the first time experience in Edge.
Strange.
Weird. Okay.
Then the difference is I was not logged into GitHub. So I give a separate login for... Would that be the difference?
I wouldn't expect that to make a difference, because that was just what GitHub had to go through before it redirected back. But by the time it redirected back, it had the same information. It had a session already set up in it, and it sent back an access token.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's kind of pick it up from here. We'll research that that problem a little bit more. But yeah, so I actually do want to talk about all the different back and forth that we're seeing here, because these, each one of these lines represents an opportunity to optimize. So I definitely want to take those opportunities. But yeah, so once you're here, you can create a new replicator. So it tells you a little bit about what a replicator is. And so I'm going to create a replicator for Monster Hotel. So create that. And this is one of the things that I'm working on right now, this latency. Yeah, in fact, that latency was so bad it timed out and it retried the save. So, yeah, it had that 5-second timeout. It said, nope, something's not going right. Let me try again. And the second time, it took 4 seconds. But then, yeah, so now we've got our replicator in the list. And so the idea is from here, you'll be able to click on the replicator, go into details about it. In fact, when you first create it, it'll just take you to those details. And that will give you an endpoint. It will let you set up your model, your authorization rules, your distribution rules, and give you help on building the application from there.
Okay.
But the things that we want to go over.
So one account can create multiple replicators.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so yeah, I've got the Monster Hotel. Need to clear that out after create. And then let's also create a replicator for 2 feet. So yeah, you can have a replicator for each app, and you also want separate replicators for different environments. So, yeah, maybe this would be your Monster Hotel dev environment and then your production environment. And in fact, the idea is that each developer on the project should be able to come up here, create their own account, create their own replicator, and start developing against just their replicator. That way, they're not sharing data and configuration with other developers, and they can't mess each other up. And then when you say, okay, let's take, for example, this mobile app and let's deploy it to TestFlight, then there should be a TestFlight replicator, and then everybody who's testing it is using that one replicator. And then we say, okay, this is good, put it in the App Store. Now there's a production replicator.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and then eventually, I actually do want to be able to set the upstream replicator for each one of these, and then you'll be able to create networks out of them. So you'll say, okay, this is a replicator for my mobile application, and then upstream is going to be a centralized replicator that also has something downstream that supports the services. So yeah, it would be you'd be able to make a change through the mobile application, and then respond to them in the back end, and so it would connect those up through a centralized replicator, and then you'd have this hub and spoke network.
So the centralized replicator will have all the facts from all the other replicators.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So you would set that up by creating new replicators, setting the upstreams of the two edge to the central, and then set the distribution rules, so that you might not even have to adjust distribution rules in that case, because it'll just be interest. It'll be that your Azure functions are going to be connecting to one replicator, and they're going to be expressing interest. I'm only interested in these things that I can respond to, and so those are the only things they'll get from the central. Versus the mobile applications are going to be interested in entirely different things.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we don't quite have enough time to get through all of the fun stuff for how this was deployed. But at the very least, you can see I've got the tracing working, at least as far as dependencies. When I talk about opportunities to optimize, we can see lots of those here. Let's come on. There we go. So yeah, we examined the Jinaga login, which is different from just /login. This is the user's browser hitting the login page. So that's why I kind of got confused. This one includes a redirect to GitHub. But yeah, then we have things like Jinaga/feeds, and you'll see most of the time, or sometimes, it doesn't take too long. So this is a histogram of the amount of time that each request takes, and it's using a logarithmic scale. So less than 100 milliseconds, we've got a pretty good chunk of those. Then a few that take up to a minute, or not a minute, a second. So yeah, we approach the 1 second mark right here, and then we've got a whole bunch that take more than a second. We can narrow in on. Come on. There we go. We can narrow in on those, and we see, yeah, these are just the ones that are taking over a second. In fact, now there's this huge gap between that and like 2.9 all the way up to 3.5 seconds. So now we've got some samples of those. So these are all posts to Jinaga feeds with that duration, and we can drill in and we can see the timeline for those.
Okay, so that's a great way to see where it goes not so good.
Yep. Yeah, and you can see with this timeline across the top, it's taking over 3 seconds before it even gets to this very first hit to the database, where it's trying to load the session. So so I have some suspicions what might be happening there. This might be trying to get the first connection to Postgres out of the connection pool. But that should not take that long. And I'm trying to instrument it so that I can actually see over here, just like I see each of the different calls to the database. I want to be able to see a band that shows I am trying to get a connection. And so if I can confirm that and I see a 3-second band, then I say, all right, that's the problem. Yeah. So I can click through some of these other examples, and they look pretty much the same. If I go back to here, and now let's slide that window down. So now I'm looking at just a 100 millisecond example. Now you can see it's taking a lot less time overall, so the amount of time it's spending in the database is now actually visible. So we've got these bars for beginning a transaction, doing the select, and ending the transaction. So there's just a bit of time between the session and the Jinaga database access. So these are two different connection pools. The Postgres session store has its own connection pool, and Jinaga has its connection pool. So it could be that it's just taking a little bit of time to get the connection from the Jinaga connection pool, but this one was already warm, so it was able to immediately get a connection that it had already used for sessions. So that's why I'm kind of thinking that's what we're seeing, and so I really want to confirm that. But yeah, most of the time it should be just really short hits to the database. Yeah, so that's the kind of telemetry that you have to work with.
Yeah, but that's nice. Because there are always sooner or later there are always problems, and
yes,
diagnosing them is not always so easy.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so you can drill down and actually see individual events. So I've got, whenever it says custom event, that's a log statement inside of the application. So the application is saying, okay, I'm redirecting. And so one of the things I'm doing right now is making sure that the application forwards any logs that are coming out of Jinaga itself, so that it can trace those and we can dig into those. So that's how I'll be able to basically turn the connection pool into a dependency. App Insights will automatically turn Postgres into a dependency, but that's after it's already gotten the Postgres connection. So it's doing all the hard work of capturing the expression that I'm sending to Postgres.
The part that we have to see now, making the connection is not automatically in it.
Right.
Yeah. And this telemetry, is that something that is on all the time, or you can switch it on? Is it taking a lot of performance?
This is on all the time, and I've not noticed when I use this in actual production applications. I've not noticed that it adversely affects performance. So it doesn't. They seem to have done a pretty good job of collecting the telemetry within the process, not sending it out and blocking the process to do that, but instead, waiting waiting to send it out in batches when your process is idle.
Yeah.
And you can see that it's doing that because if you work with the application and then refresh, it doesn't immediately show up. You have to wait for it to work through the system a little bit, and then it starts to show up.
Okay.
But,
That's great.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so yeah, maybe next time we can get into Pulumi and how I'm actually deploying this. So yeah, this is some fun stuff. And yeah, so I didn't create those what 6. Yeah, I didn't create those 6 resources on my by hand. I have a script that I can run to create a brand new resource group or to update an existing resource group. So yeah, if somebody else wants to run Replicator as a service, then I can stand one up for them.
All right, that's great. If you need some feedback to find that bug during the week, just let me know.
Yes, indeed. That is a strange one. Yeah, I'm not sure what we can collect right now to try to resolve that. Yeah, the fact that it's bouncing through Jinaga tests is just really confusing.
Yeah. Anyway, if you need something, let me know.
Okay.
I can give you access. That's not a problem.
Very good.
All right, then we see each other next week.
Yes, indeed.
For another interesting session on Azure.
Yes, yeah, and hopefully I've got some of those optimizations completed as well, so we'll be able to see something that's working really quickly. Maybe even working correctly on your side as well. That'd be kind of cool. But hey, let's see what we can accomplish between now and then.
Okay, Michael. See you then. Bye-bye.
Right. See ya.